This is the best of the Tory Lowe Show on 1017 The Truth and The Truth app. Catch the Tory Lowe Show every weekday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m.
This is just a bad messaging. This is just bad messaging because if you're an ICE agent and you know you're going to get into a shootout or you could possibly avoid a shootout, you may take that shot knowing that it's a GoFundMe somewhere that could get up to $700,000. I want to go to Minnesota right quick because the protests were going crazy for the last couple of days. It's going down in Minnesota. I'm seeing a lot of people that participated in the Black Lives Matter movement out of Minnesota. They're in my feed, so I get to see a lot of their live videos. Cortez Rice was from out of Minnesota. And he lives in Minnesota, and he came with us when we were on our way, connected with us when we were on our way from Milwaukee to Washington, D.C. He's out of Minnesota, and he was close to George Floyd. He was one of George Floyd's. He said that was his uncle, but come to find out that's what he called him. So, but he was on live. And, you know, it's a lot of things going on with ICE and, like I said, but I want to talk about this. They said that the officer, this is about the officer. They said that the officer who shot Renee, there was a GoFundMe. And they had the amount, I think, that they raised. When I saw it, they said it was like over $400,000. And GoFundMe. Like, look and see if we can find the exact number, Andrew. But I'm seeing that why are these agents, why are they raising money for the agent? He shouldn't be able to take that money. Like, everybody getting GoFundMes for the wrong thing to me. Like, when I saw this, I'm like, what? But they quick to do it, just like the Cinnabon lady. The Cinnabon lady called some people out of their name, the N-word, and she had got like a GoFundMe. I think she got like $100,000. I don't know where it's at now, but why? Who's giving to these GoFundMes?
You want to hear about it?
Yeah, I want to hear about it. We got some video on this.
This is the GoFundMe. I'm going to read it to you. I'll put it up on the screen for us.
Okay.
ICE officer Jonathan Ross, Tory, after seeing the media BS about the domestic terrorist getting a GoFundMe, I feel the officer 1,000% is justified in the shooting, deserves to have a GoFundMe. Funds will go to help him. That's what the GoFundMe says, Tory.
And how much is in there right now?
I would like you to take a guess.
It's probably at 500,000.
Higher.
600.
Higher.
$1 million?
$749,000, Tory.
$749,000 this is for well, I guess they're saying this ICE agent. It's for the ICE agent that shot Renee. $700,000 in a GoFundMe. Like, now, I got to call a timeout on this whole thing. Because now it's like, if you're doing something questionable, you might get suspended and a GoFundMe. And if you're on the other side, if you protesting, you might die and become a martyr. Because Renee basically became a martyr. Like, she was out there fighting against ICE, lost her life, and now she's all over the place, kind of like what they did to Charlie Kirk. You know, just now these are the talking points. And so this is just a bad messaging. This is just bad messaging because if you're an ICE agent and you know you're going to get into a shootout or you could possibly avoid a shootout, you may take that shot knowing that it's a GoFundMe somewhere that could get up to $700,000. That's wild. Or these protests are geared up to, if I go and sacrifice my life for whatever this is, I'm going to end up like Charlie Kirk. known as a martyr. That's bad messaging right there. That's bad messaging right there. And the media is just eating it up. The media, this is just good media. It's kind of like they trying to bring back Black Lives Matter, like that whole movement. And now Renee and is George Floyd. Does it happen in Minnesota? That's how it all. That's how Black Lives Matter went crazy. From an incident in Minnesota.
So we're just talking about scriptwriters, Tory. Feels like a little script writing or what?
No, just when you see the playbook once, you can see it coming again. Something happened in Minnesota with a police officer in a person. It's making national news. Now it's a protest. Now every city trying to get protests and trying to gear up. It's like Black Lives Matter, but like White Lives Matter. It's like with white people. The All Lives Matter movement, or the White Lives, or All Lives, however they want to put it. It just seems like what's happening, and it all gonna pile up into the elections. All of this energy is gonna swell up, and then we got the governor's election coming up, and then it's gonna affect that election. Whatever's going on, 10 Walls dropped out in Minnesota, but the ICE issue is going to start becoming a political issue, depending on what side of the fence you're on. And this is where the politics are going to start saying, "Oh, I'm against ICE, vote for me." And then the other ones on the other side are going to be like, "I want these immigrants to be sent back, vote for me." Now these are going to be the talking points. You can see it coming. We already been through this already. It's just taking on a different form. And the people end up losing in the end because at the end, nobody wins on the ground. Look how many murals we got of George Floyd in every neighborhood across the country. They use it for the energy. Now it's going to be, when the election time comes, these are the talking points. And then people going to start sending money. And then after it's all over with, somebody gonna have a house in Calabasas. Wow, that's all this is. You know what? If y'all feel that y'all seen this playbook before, hit me up in the chat. Let me know. Hit me up in the talk to text. Seems like Renee is now in the George Floyd space. That's what it looked like to me. And when I saw Cortez go out there on the front, it seemed like I've seen this before. Where did I see this before? In 2020. It's just now aimed at ICE. Not the police. Not the regular law enforcement. Here we go. Oh, wow. Hey, you know what? I might take a call. How much time we got, Andrew? 2 minutes. I'll take the first caller to call in to try to let me know if I'm right or wrong, because I'm just, in my opinion, I see White Lives Matter. That's what I see. Like, I can't say Black Lives Matter because, when you look at the footage, it ain't a lot of black people out there like that. It's some, but it ain't like how it was in 2020. So you seeing white people go at it. You seeing a lot of white people fighting for Somalians and a lot of scandal going on in Minnesota. I don't know. I guess I don't know what to call it. Tell me what to call this in the chat. What's going on in Minnesota? Is it White Lives Matter? Is it All Lives Matter? Is it anti-ICE protest? What's going on? Because I think pretty soon they're going to come up with a name. Because right now, what is it? What is it called?
ICE protests.
Yeah, it's called ICE protests, but it ain't that's just for the media headlines. What is it called? Is it freedom? Are they fighting for freedom? What are they fighting for? What are these people fighting for? Like, at least if during Black Lives Matter, if we was fighting for human and civil rights, at least that's what we thought, right? What are we fighting for? Somebody help me out. Got too much time on their hands. White Widow in the chat. I'm just saying. La Carissa says, spot on, Tory. Hello, everyone. Yeah, this is something like before the elections came, you saw it brewing, like the Black Lives Matter movement brewing, like it was brewing. It was underneath. Like right now, this stuff is brewing. Minister Kevin says, Tory, we seen this with Kyle Rittenhouse and George Zimmerman, where you are paraded as a hero for killing someone they shouldn't have. Yeah, this is where they parading people around. The ICE agent, I don't believe he should have shot her, to tell you the truth. I said that off the top. He could have not done that. Okay, he got $700,000. That should let you know right there, get out the way. Move, get out the way like Luda. Don't get in their way, because now with this amount of money flying around, you might be next. You need to bag up, get away, bag up, give them 20 feet. Or you might get the Martyr, you might get a mural. I don't even know if you can. I want to see if somebody gonna start a lawsuit from getting shot from an ICE agent. I want to know, can you put a lawsuit on an ICE agent for something like that? Hey, look, well, we're going to see. That's why I say I'm watching it play out again. But I think I've seen this before. It is anything with affirmative action, anything with DEI, it's proof that white women have benefited. So they trying to make the white women look the other way while they cut them down from the back. Thank you for joining me for the third hour of the Tory Lowe Show. And Truth Nation, please mark your calendars for Friday, February 20th. For the second annual Truth Community Awards hosted by Homer Blow and Bailey Coleman, celebrating individuals making a real difference in our community. Tickets are on sale now. Visit 1017thetruthaward.com to learn more. The community awards are sponsored by Milwaukee College Prep, the Milwaukee Bucks, Gruber Law Office, Steinhoffel's, Cousin Subs, and 3rd Street Market Hall. Come celebrate with us Friday, February 20th at the Truth Community Awards hosted by Homer Blow and Bailey Coleman. I guess it starts around 5:30 to 8 p.m. at Venue 3 in the 3rd Street Market Hall. You do not want to miss one of the biggest award shows of 2026. Salute to all my brothers and sisters on the front line. I cannot wait to be outside with my community on February 20th during Black History Month. It's going to be powerful. It's going to be amazing. Hey, look, I'm going to tell you, this is the time of the year where we got to make sure that we show up and show out for everybody that's putting in efforts. If everybody do a little, nobody ain't got to do a lot. Once again, you can go to the Truth Community Awards. You can go to 1017 The Truth Community Awards.com. That's 1017thetruthAwards.com to learn more. Get your tickets. I want to see y'all out. Hey, look, I think this year we got to do it big. We got to do it extra big. It's going to be a lot going on. I can't wait to have that fun time that I get to have with my community, and it's not something tragic going on. Last year was so amazing. Last year was a great time. We had an amazing time. This year, we taking it to the next level, the second annual Truth Community Awards. Once again, if you want to get tickets, get your tickets. Go to 1017thetruthAwards.com. Well, I have so many different ideas I wanted to do for this third hour, but I guess I'll start with this affirmative action thing. Something's going on with affirmative action in the state of Wisconsin, and I guess they trying to pass a bill. And this is an article how them making changes to affirmative action may affect us right here in the state of Wisconsin. Here we go. Let's listen.
Have the say whether to amend the Wisconsin Constitution to ban what's referred to as affirmative action. It's part of the national debate over DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. It would say the state cannot discriminate or offer preferential treatment for employment, contracts, and public education based on someone's race, sex, color, ethnicity, or national origin. Wisconsin Republicans want to add it to the state constitution.
I call this constitutional amendment the Equality Amendment because what it does is it restores merit, fairness, and equality.
It's going to be unfortunate where they would have had an opportunity to get ahead. This is one more knock to knock people down, whereas this was to benefit certain people, to help them in situations where they wouldn't get this opportunity in some instances.
So in order to amend the Wisconsin Constitution, the state legislature needs to pass a resolution in 2 consecutive sessions. They did that back in the 2023-2024 session. They're doing it again in this 2025-2026 session. After it passes both chambers here in the legislature this go around, it'll go to you in November. You're the final say whether to change the Constitution.
Here we go. Now, they going to give it to the people. What they going to put on one of them referendums or whatever. They're going to try to throw it out there. Now you're going to see when they say Wisconsin is one of the most segregated states in the country. You about to see. And I'll say this. If white people were smart, they wouldn't vote against it. Because white women have benefited more from affirmative action than anybody. Than anybody in the United States. Look, they try to make y'all, they try to, look, I'm just going to be honest. The men, they don't want y'all women to get ahead. So white women was able to use affirmative action and DEI. They got more DEI and affirmative action than anybody. All right, when I tell you to close your eyes once again, think of affirmative action. Who do you see? Who do you see? If you don't see a white woman, then you screwed. You don't even know what's going on. It was made to give an advantage to people that came out of slavery. You know, the families that were hit by hardship through racism, discrimination, slavery, X, Y, and Z. But it opened up the gate for, other minorities to kind of creep their way in. And if you start looking at who benefits the most from affirmative action, it's not blacks. Or DEI. It's not blacks. Look it up. Who benefit the most from this, Andrew? Andrew.
It's white women.
Yeah, it's white women. So look, I'm going to tell y'all this. If you start looking at the numbers and you see that the small portion of blacks and other people that have benefited from these programs, you're going to scratch your head and wonder why these people are pushing so hard against the idea of affirmative action and pushing up against the ideal of DEI, even though white women and their children, because if she's getting a better position, the family's getting more money. That's all I'm going to say. So they'll make you look at the minority that's probably getting some breadcrumbs, like even with DEI, they said that blacks only got 4%. 4%. So I don't know nobody mad at 4%. Well, where did the rest of it go? To white women and other, people that are non-black. I'm trying to tell you, they'll have you looking at something, but the real sinister ideal is they trying to cut down white women. They got the white women looking at DEI like it's a black thing when really you benefited the most. So they can't say we don't want the white women to get the advantage. So they'll pick a small, minute group of people that to make them the face so they can take you out your space. That's what's happening. You heard it right here on The Truth from Tory Lowe. This is an attack against white people, white women. It is anything with affirmative action, anything with DEI, it's proof that white women have benefited. So they trying to make the white women look the other way while they cut them down from the back. That's crazy. That's crazy work. And they trying to use black people. They trying to use black people as a reason to keep you distracted. Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. The numbers is right there. So I don't feel like it's an attack on black. Now, to the few blacks that are able to take advantage of some of these affirmative action ideas and DEI ideas, I mean, yeah, you know, the few ones that were able to get in the room and get the advantage and get the money or get the position, yeah, okay, they may lose out, but the majority that are winning is non-blacks. That ain't black people. And I'm just saying this. So I believe every time I hear affirmative action, I think they're trying to strike down white women. They don't want their white women to rise up. That's what I think. Because we barely pinching off the affirmative action. If you want to join the conversation, 833-212-1017. We got Al. Al want to call in and talk about the affirmative action. How you doing now?
Well, I'm doing wonderful. Well, the white woman know in her household, when it comes to her husband, it's me first.
Mm-hmm.
And the white Republican husband know, and he will let his white woman know, you sit your white ass down because it's in my house. I do what I want.
That's what it sounds like.
Because the white Republican man can cheat on his white woman, make outside babies. He could be running around town with a black woman, and she will not divorce him because she like that cushion she got. Also, you have to understand with white men, they're mediocre. How can you have the white skin and be a drug addict? How can you have the white privilege and still got a goddamn problem? And you have got everything you want, and you're still whining and complaining like a goddamn drug addict. And you're still mediocre. You're still complaining. It ain't no peace because these white men and these white women really want to walk in the shoes of black people. That's why they complain so much. The only thing that's going to stop them is a line of crack and them being exposed for getting that condom out the crack of their pink ass.
Oh, wow.
Have a great day.
Oh, wow.
Bye-bye.
I guess I guess he wanted to call in and talk about affirmative action. Wow. Well, all I'm saying is that's the truth. And I don't feel emotionally attached to a lot of these programs because I know the numbers is not to the benefit of my community. But it is benefiting other communities. And they the ones that need to fight this. They want us on the front lines for getting crumbs from these programs. But the majority, while they sit back and they, benefit and they in the shadows. Y'all better fight for yourself. Y'all white women, y'all better fight against that affirmative action. Because y'all the ones that benefit the most. DEI, white women that benefited the most. Y'all better fight. Y'all better not let them people take y'all stuff. Well, I remember when they said that the WWE was sports entertainment. But now I'm hearing that they're saying the NFL is a sports entertainment
Under
league.
the same legal leagues,
Yeah,
yep.
so it's got the same script as the WWE. Pop Culture Report brought to you by Tory Lowe. Andrew, there's a situation going on where prosecutors charged 20 people, including 15 former NCAA players, in an alleged scheme to fix basketball games. Now, we had the situation with the NBA players that they busted a couple coaches and then some players for trying to fix NBA games. And now it seems like they're busting the college realm for scamming. What's going on?
Yeah, Tory. So 20 players are alleged to be in this ring point shaving. So say the over-under is like 55.5. They're going to intentionally miss free throws maybe down the stretch. They're going to intentionally miss some three-pointers down the stretch to try to keep that score a little bit lower, right? So you got a lot of guys who essentially cheating the game, and a lot of people are betting money on these games, Tory.
Players can't bet.
Players shouldn't bet. But they, legally, no. College players should not be betting on these games. But all it takes is one guy at the rec hall or one guy, in the dorm to be like, hey, man, I got a couple of college textbooks on the over on this game or the under on this game.
That's wild. That's somebody said that sports betting, once it became legal, the way it is now online and everything, it was going to ruin sports.
I agree.
And what's stopping people from point shaving?
Allegedly, ethics.
Who's okay? Where's the ethics at? Ethics is in the bank account. If it's about money, and it seems like right now, with like a lot of people saying that the NFL and a lot of things that they calling out with the referees and basketball, and it's all because everybody's looking at the gambling situation that then rose 100 times. So what are we doing? How do you balance it out? Or is sports just entertainment? We shouldn't take it real.
So about a decade ago when this started to become legal across the country, Tory, a lot of people were saying, oh, no, we can make gambling legal because the professional athletes make so much money. If you think back 100 years ago, guys were making $100,000 to play a game, and then a bookie can come and give $200,000. Well, I'm making twice my salary to throw a game. Yeah, I'm going to do it. But allegedly, now people were making too much money, so yeah, they wouldn't be affected. But you know who doesn't make any money? College players, referees. So unless you
college players got NIL deals now, right?
Well, some of them, right? If you play for, let's say, the Badgers or Marquette, you might have some money. But let's say you play for Oral Roberts or Marquette, you probably don't have that type of NIL money, Tory.
Okay, because when I was coming up, people wanted to win. And I noticed lately, now when these players get that big contract, it's no big deal if they lose a game or not. You know what I mean?
Agree.
They just walk off and nobody's highly upset. And I mean, what's stopping them from shaving a few points? Because does the game mean what it used to mean? Now, when you sit in front of the TV, the fans are more passionate and excited about the game than the superstars are.
I've been saying that for years, Tory. I root for the jersey. I don't root for the player's name on the back. So if, let's say, the Bucks win or lose a game, I'm torn up about it. But if you're somebody who's just rooting for one player or another player, you might not be as sad if Giannis has 45 points,
right,
but the Bucks lose. Well, I'm only a Giannis fan, right?
Okay, so Giannis got booed, and I looked at the video. I kind of zoomed in. I ain't gonna tell you what I thought he said, when he was on the ground. But y'all can zoom in for yourself. But what I'm saying is he said that he never been in a situation where he got booed, but that's a part of the game. You got to go with the ups and the downs, right? When you're losing, this is the behavior. When you're winning, everybody's excited. If you want, Mike Tomlin said the remedy for, not being fired is to win, So I think that right now sports have two things going on. One, I don't see a lot of passion in players. Two, sports betting is here, and if I don't like my contract, I can just start scamming and betting and trying to point shave to get my money on the back end.
I 1,000% agree with you, man. And again, it's very dangerous, this world we've kind of entered into, right? That we said, okay, yes, we're going to allow people to gamble on sports. You say that there's not enough passion. I'm looking for a quarterback to cry after a loss. I'm looking for, a basketball player to be huddled up weeping after a bad loss. You know who is weeping? The gamblers who bet on him who got caught
right
when they got points.
The people who didn't come through on the bet.
Yeah, those are the people crying the most now.
Well, I remember when somebody said once they get all of these gambling ideas online started, the game will never be the same.
And it hasn't been.
Well, we're seeing a lot of people get busted now.
Well, everybody made money on this, right? The leagues made money when they got in bed with these gambling companies, Tory. The players made money because the leagues made more money. The fans are losing money now because they're gambling on everything. So it's like everybody was a winner except for the fans.
Right. And I think that we're starting to, since we got social media and people are trying to point out, a lot of these videos are going viral now where they're trying to point out okay, look at this. And to tell you the truth, a lot of people would label that as a conspiracy theory, but it do look like what they saying, but you would think, no, the NFL wasn't scripted. Is it scripted? Is the NBA scripted? But what I'm seeing is players are affecting the game due to the bets or the things that they're doing on the side.
Well, if you 10 years ago, pre-gambling, if you said the league is scripted, I would have said you're crazy. I don't believe it. It's a conspiracy theory. Now, I mean, there's so much. We're talking billions of dollars, Tory.
Right.
And what I worry about is you can't put the genie back in the bottle. Toothpaste doesn't go back in the tube. Like, what do you do now? That now you've made gambling legal. You can't really retract it because the people who have been gambling, they're not going to stop all of a sudden because now it's illegal again.
Well, I remember when they said that the WWE was sports entertainment. But now I'm hearing that they're saying the NFL is a sports entertainment
Under
league.
the same legal
Yeah, so it's got the same like script as the WWE.
So let me ask you, as the number one Packer backer maybe in the world, does this mess you up? Like,
yeah, a little bit because, you know, I get all into it, you know. I'm looking at the field goal like, you know, if they make it, hey, I'm like one of them people like, you know, geeked up. But if it's all scripted, then I feel like I'm watching Hulk Hogan in Ultimate Warrior. Like, I feel like I'm just here just to spend my time to be entertained. That's because then it takes away from where you think it's two teams, the best team win. And if it's scripted, then they already know the outcome. That's hard for me to digest right now. That's just hard for me to digest that people are making these outcomes that we're seeing, and it's not natural.
Well, as a Vikings fan, I can tell you right now, if they came out and said it was scripted, I would be rioting. Because what do you mean we don't get any Super Bowls? So what do you mean we don't win anything ever? You know what I mean?
Well, you're a Vikings fan.
Yeah.
No, don't go off on the Browns. You stick right there in Minnesota.
I'm just saying.
Stay right there in Minnesota because y'all ain't never going to win. Y'all ain't never in the script to win. And when they did put y'all in the script to win, y'all missed the field goal.
I'm just saying, it's just tough. It's tough to have script writers, and we still can't get a good movie ending.
Well, they got AI now.
I'm going to AI you holding up the Lombardi.
No, you can AI the Minnesota Vikings holding up the Lombardi trophy.
You're mean, Tory.
I'm just messing with you. All I'm saying, you can AI the confetti coming down on the Vikings with the trophy.
What do you think the punishment should be for these guys, these 20 guys who are point shaving in college basketball?
Well, I think that you should be like, you know, it depends on to what degree, but if you're tampering with something that's harming a whole bunch of people, then you should get the worstest penalty that they possibly can give you. Because, you know, you got to realize once they opened up betting for everybody, you got so many people betting on games now, and they thinking that, okay, they got a natural chance to win. Where, you know, the game is going to play itself out, and according to the injury report and according to their scouting report, this team may have a better advantage. But if it's scripted, no matter what's going on with either team, the team that's scripted to win is going to win.
Well, think about this. If you cheat in a game of cards or a game of dice, Tory, you're in trouble. People are going to be very upset. So if they came out and said, like, hey, the NFL has been scripted, Roger Goodell would have a big target on his back.
That's why I don't want to believe that my favorite sport is rigged.
I hear you.
I just don't want to believe it.
This is the last thing of childlike wonder you have.
Right. This the only thing that, you know, I get to look forward to and I'm excited about. You know, I never was a basketball player. I never played organized basketball, you know, on a team. So football was my organized sport, wrestling and track. But football is the last of the Mohicans. It's only one game on the weekend, and during the week you ain't got to worry about it. Hey, I'm gonna keep everybody up to date. Let's see what kind of punishment these people get. Maybe after they get these punishments, it'll kind of stop people from trying to do it.
I hope you're right.
We've been talking about Corey Stingley after 13 years. After 13 long years, Craig Stingley and the family was able to get something. The two men that were involved, there were three men involved. One of them died. The two remaining men will be charged with murder through Restorative Justice Program. We gonna open up the lines today. We talking about Corey Stingley, a situation that when it happened back in 2012 was it was like 5 cases. I was dealing with the illegal strip searching. I was dealing with Derek Williams' family. Salute to the Derek Williams family. I was dealing with James Perry, who died in the county. And then Corey Stingley was around that time, too. So it was all of these different situations going on back then, all at once. And I'm hearing that there has been new news with the men involved in the situation with Corey Stingley actually having to have murder charges placed on them. But there's a lot going on with it at the same time. So get that audio up, Andrew, because I want to know the details. I guess the men are being charged with murder, but they don't have to go to jail. It's different. It's like a restorative justice idea that's going on. And I'll let the article that came out recently discuss some of the details of what took place. But before we hear the article, I want to say salute to Craig Stingley, who was right here on the Tory Lowe Show in 2023. He came in the show and he said he was still fighting and he had a couple things that he was still working on. And he wanted everybody to know that it's not over. Like, he came in right here on the Tory Lowe Show. And Andrew, maybe hopefully we can get that old show up from right here on the Tory Lowe Show. But we do have a news report discussing what's going on with these new charges. The residents, these were regular residents now, that Corey Stingley had picked up some items out of the store, like $5 worth of stuff, and he was trying to give it back. These residents choked him out, and shortly thereafter, he lost his life. We protested. We went up to West Allis, and we tried to fight for justice, and then the DA, at the time, DA John Chisholm, did not press charges on these residents. And the fight began, and a long battle began after that with Craig Stingley, the father of Corey Stingley, and the family to get to this point. We got some video and audio on this. If you're watching as we broadcast live, we got video. Let's listen.
What do we want? Justice!
Craig Stingley told anyone who would listen his 16-year-old son, Corey, shouldn't have had to pay for shoplifting with his life.
This is a crime against humanity, against all of us. We all have lost something here.
Surveillance video at AJ's Foods in West Allis in 2012 shows a clerk take the stolen liquor from Corey's backpack as 3 customers tackle the teen to the ground, holding him face down until police arrived. By then, he'd stopped breathing. He died 2 weeks later. But the Milwaukee County District Attorney didn't charge, saying he didn't believe the men would be convicted.
Corey's father was instrumental sort of behind the scenes in trying to push for some level of accountability.
His persistence led a judge to order the Dane County DA to review the case, and after several meetings in a process known as restorative justice, the sides agreed to a resolution. The customers who held Corey down, 67-year-old Robert Beringer of Menominee Falls and 39-year-old Jesse Cole of Waukesha, will plead guilty to felony murder. The third man has since died. The Stingley family agreed the men wouldn't serve jail time. Attorney Anthony Cotton represents Beringer.
He feels terrible about what happened. I mean, I don't ever want to suggest that his anguish is worse than the Stingley family's anguish. They lost someone who they'll never see again, so that's as bad as it can get.
Cotton says the convictions will be vacated after 6 months of community service.
Everybody wanted this to happen. This is an agreement that everybody is on board with, and for good reason. It's been over a decade. Everybody's been living with this, dealing with this. Some people have moved on differently than others. And I think just having finality is important.
Now, so from what I'm seeing, this is a restorative justice situation where they will be only convicted of murder for 6 months. Gotta do some community service. And then after 6 months, it's just nothing. All of that's dropped. That's what I'm hearing. But the fact that this was even escalated to this point was a miracle. Because all doors closed, all avenues closed on the fight for justice. But once again, salute to Craig Stingley for continuing to be consistent and searching for a way to make sure that he can get justice, some type of justice for his son. Some type of justice for his son. Now, do it sound crazy? What's going on? So basically, due to this restorative justice idea, they have all agreed to be labeled murderers for 6 months. And then after that, the title drops and some community service. But I'm telling you, that is a win for somebody that's been fighting for so long to get something to happen when all of the doors close. So I understand it sound like, what is this? But trust me, it took a long fight to even get it to this, because the DA John Chisholm right here in the city of Milwaukee closed the book on this. And I was there when I was sitting there when all this was taking place. So to have something and fighting for so long to get something to happen where they can say, yes, we did murder your son. And we will accept whatever agreement to say, hey, look, we murdered your son. They don't get no jail time. They got to do some kind of community service idea. But to have every avenue shut down to this, sometimes justice looks different to me. Do you want them in jail for murdering Corey Stingley? Yes, you do. Do you want them to go to trial for what they did and go through that process? Hey, you know. But at the end of the day, the men that took Corey Stingley's life, something happened to where they have to accept the fact that they did that and that they have to be labeled a murderer for a certain length of time and when it was nothing, I think that was a huge thing that happened when you had to climb mountains to get to this point. 13 years? Zayda Shea says, they play in the folks' face again. Prayers to the fam. I would be ticked off. I'm sorry. That ain't enough. And I understand what you're saying, Zayda Shea. But from nothing, this happened. I understand what I'm saying. Yeah, we want the right thing to happen, but you know what? The guards were so locked in on letting these people, they even referred to these two men as good Samaritans at the time. Yeah, this is what, I was like, what? Like, I'm telling you, I had to live through it. I was there standing toe-to-toe with the family, trying to get justice, and I'm telling you, when Craig came on the show in 2023, he knew that there was a lane that he can work that would probably equal something. And I'm proud of him for that. I'm proud of him for not giving up on getting something when they told him it was nothing he could do. This is not what we wanted, but this is resilience. This is somebody that stayed consistent, and this is somebody that found a way to make something happen. This is huge, and it may not be what you think it should be, but it is what it is. We've been talking about Corey Stingley after 13 years. After 13 long years, Craig Stingley and the family was able to get something. The two men that were involved, there were three men involved. One of them died. The two remaining men will be charged with murder through Restorative Justice Program, and they won't face any time. And after 6 months after community service, I guess this will be dropped from their records as well. I think that the family agreed to this. Tony Cotton, the one that represented Maxwell Anderson, was in on this. And the Slender Man girl that got out, I guess Tony Cotton also represented the guy who beat up Tom Barrett, too. Like, when Tom Barrett got beat up, a long time ago, Tony Cotton was the attorney for him too.
This guy's everywhere.
Yeah, so he'll defend you now. But I think that it's due to some of his experience, Tony Cotton, if he was one of the people that were being accused. This is why it sounds like this at the end, where, because if he got the Slender Man girls out, I'm just saying, he may have said, okay, we'll do this. We'll do 6 months. We'll say, hey, we did this murder, and you know what? We'll do some community service. And then after that, it's just going to get dropped off the records. Now, I don't know if they could start a civil lawsuit while, with this being the case. I don't know what they agreed on totally in the meetings to make this happen. But we'll see. But we got Thomas on the line. He wants to comment. If you want to make a comment on the situation going on right now with Corey Stingley being able to get some form of justice, the men involved have to say that they murdered him. They basically, they agreed that, these murder charges are going to get on our records for 6 months, I guess, total. We got Thomas on the line. How you doing, Thomas?
All right.
Corey Stingley situation, the dad had to fight a long time to get whatever he got. I think he broke through. It was almost like when I looked at the situation, it was like a stone wall up. So for this to even happen, it says a lot on his behalf to make something happen out of nothing.
Yes, I agree with that. But this is the thing. No jail time? I don't agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I got to say.
Right. Well, like I said, I'm going to tell you, Thomas, I look at it like this. I know what happened. I was there. And I was there when the walls shut. When the DA, which like White Widow said in the chat, is an elected official. And he said, okay, I'm not charging these guys. I don't think I have enough to charge or whatever. And they, for 13 years, were able to get out here and not have to face anything. You know what I mean? So it ain't like, it may have not been a lot of room to pull this off. And they had Tony Cotton in there, high-profile defense attorney in there working too. Maybe, this was the only thing that they could squeeze out of that moment. And we don't know what happens on the back end with maybe some civil lawsuits. That's all I'm saying. Well, I don't know what the deal was, but at the same time, when he made something out of nothing with this one. That's all I can say. I know we can say, no, it's murder. They need to go to jail for killing his son. But I'm going to tell you right now, Wisconsin has an issue with the justice system, with black people getting real justice in a lot of these cases. And I had to sit there in these offices and in these courtrooms and watch it happen with my own eyes. That's why I say it's a slight win. I say a slight win because it was no wins. So I'm not going to get out the moment and be like, man, they should have did this, they should have did that, because we don't know what were the circumstances for this to even take place, because it was nothing. To me, this is something out of nothing. I'm not satisfied with the outcome, but I know that the difficulty level to pull something like this off was very high. I don't even think I've ever seen somebody even do this before, this type of way. So salute to Craig for doing something. He should be proud of himself, even though we want more. Don't get it twisted. We want them to face the accountability for their actions. But I'm telling you, the way that they had this set up, it wasn't nothing coming. Zero. The way that when the DA, when I sat there and saw the DA say that he's not gonna make no charges, and it was deflating. And usually that's it. Usually that's it. 833-212-1017. If you want to comment on what took place recently with Corey Stingley, the father, Craig Stingley, was able to maneuver in the darkness and pull something out, pull that rabbit out the hat with this one. This is a fleeing joke to black folks overall. A black life is worth 6 months. No shade to Craig, but that's a slap in the face. No, we've been getting slapped. This ain't the situation that slapped us. I wouldn't go that far to say that this is a slap in the face. We've been getting slapped in the face by the justice system. We wouldn't start right here. We wouldn't start at this situation. You would have to go all the way back to our great-great-grandparents for justice to being, when they say that we was 3/5 a human being, like that it's some heavier things going on. This one was a shot in the dark to me. This is more like a shot in the dark that he was able to come out with this to me. Pamelina in the chat says, how was this not a case of deprived indifference by definition, utter disregard for human life? That particular chokehold is designed to restrict airflow by applying pressure to the carotid arteries, carotid arteries. Well, I'll say this. I've sat and watched difficult cases that I felt that was misjudged by jury, by judges. I see it all the time. So when people can get anything in the situations where they were already determined it was zero, you don't want to overlook that, because let me tell you something. When something happened to your relative and you can't get anything out of it, guess who you're going to call? You're going to call Craig Stingley and ask him how he did this. You ain't going to say at the time, this is trash. You're going to be like, what can I do? Let me call Craig Stingley. They shut me down. They shut my family down. So stop looking at it in a way where you feel more could have been done, and look at it in a way where that was all they could do. We know the system is trash when it comes to a lot of our issues. I understand what I'm saying. That's why I don't understand why people out there protesting for people that come to this country and they scam the country. Like, there's a big scam going on in Minnesota with them Somalians. Billions of dollars. And I was telling Andrew earlier, I haven't seen one Somalian post Renee picture. Like, we as Americans, we may feel a certain way, but I haven't seen a Somalian post, if he did, send it to the Talk to Text line. But she died for people that were involved in a lot of, it's a lot of things going on in Minnesota that you may not understand. But she went out there and put her life out there for whatever reason. But those people, some of those people, they don't look at her like that. They don't care if she got shot by ICE. They happy that they was able to get away, that they was able to come from a country and get some money in this country by any means necessary, and that's the truth. Corey Stingley is an African-American that lost his life to two Caucasian Americans, and the DA told the father that he wasn't going to press charges, and I was sitting right there. And this ain't the first time it happened. I done saw it in situations many times, people of different cultures, Brown, Joel Acevedo. So I wouldn't go that far to get high blood pressure. I would say now Craig has the experience on how to get people something out of nothing. That's how I look at it. You can go to him now and be like, they didn't do nothing for me and my family. They denied me and my family. What did you do? That's powerful. I bet you don't say, oh, I think he got shortchanged when it's your family. I bet you're going to be like, call Craig Stingley so I can see how he did that. Okay. It took him 13. It might take you 7. Because he had to figure it out. We got some video. He came on the show. When we come back, we're going to listen to what he had to say. He came on the show in 2023. He gave hints about what he was working on. We're going to listen to the audio when we get back. We've been talking this hour about Corey Stingley, how his dad fought 13 years to get something to happen. I feel he made something out of nothing. I would rather for them to be behind bars. I would rather for the real, I'd rather for the real accountability to take place. But he was in the studio and he was trying to explain when families go through situations like he been through and how to fight. If you're listening as we broadcast live, we got a clip of that interview that he had in 2023 right here on the Tory Lowe Show. Let's listen.
First of all, believe that the rights that are talked about in that Constitution, you're entitled to them. Don't let nobody tell you that the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of everything this country has to offer is not your right as a citizen here, because that's what it means. Secondly, don't quit when you've been unjustly, treated by the police, anybody within the system, because that's your right to complain and have them do what's written down in the laws across this country. They apply to everybody. When they say we the people, that includes us. And you have to demand of the elected officials that they represent you at every level. And that means continuing to fight. Dr. King said the arc of the moral universe is long and it bends toward justice. That length of time has no, beginning and end. It's a continual fight. I'm fighting on the backs of my ancestors. I've been relying upon the spirit of Thurgood Marshall, of Medgar Evers, and all Dr. King, all of them that come before, because they've shown me, how this fight needs to be continued. And so I'm saying, together with the energy and the family that we have here in the village in Milwaukee County particularly, but across Wisconsin, as black folks, we have to believe that everything that's written down in that document applies to us, and then demand it, and then keep fighting. And don't be afraid to write a letter to those people who are in those offices and demand that they answer it. And the most important part is to follow up. And lastly, one of the things that's helped me is the image of the Sankofa bird. The Sankofa bird is moving forward and looking back. I draw my strength from my ancestors as I keep going, because they did that for me. And had they not done what they did, then none of us would be here, particularly as black folks. And this country wouldn't be what it is if we weren't here, because we've helped develop it and build it and shape it from the very beginning. And we will be here to continue to help it become what it needs to become, so it can live up to that promise that was made, that we all, have this opportunity to live in a civil society and to pursue, that life, liberty, and pursuit to the fullest extent that the law allows. And don't let nobody tell you that they don't apply to you.
Hey, powerful. And hey, understand, this man stayed consistent for 13 years. And I don't believe that this sends a bad message. I see what's going on in the chat. I mean, I would give a little pushback on that, because I think that many times it depends on the situation. Every situation is on to itself. We've got many situations where we didn't get justice. Look at Emmett Till, you know what I mean? They even found out where the woman had a police report in the old courthouse, arrest warrant that they didn't even serve her. And she died, shortly after all of the news came out. They didn't even arrest her when they found out all of the stuff that they had hidden to her advantage in an old courthouse. So this is not to say that the system was working right and now it's not working. No, it never worked right. And you always had to be consistent in fighting. And it's not cheap to spend money 13 years to try to get things corrected. Like sometimes they'll put a case on you just to economically starve you or economically cripple you, because it costs money to be in courts all day. That's not cheap. Understand what I'm saying? So for him to use his own resources and to continue to fight and file paperwork and make visits and use his gas and his time over 13 years to get something when they close the door on him, to me, that's powerful. To me, that's powerful. And I don't think that he's satisfied with what the outcome was, but I think that he sat in a room and negotiated what we're seeing right now. Because they saying at the end, the family came to the agreement that this is okay. Like, okay, this is what we got right here. This is what's in front of us. This is what we got to do. So, yeah, you can sit back if you haven't grind for 13 years and understood what was happening. Yeah, you can sit back and say, oh, that's BS, Oh, that, I don't know. You can say that, but you ain't spent one day trying to figure out what, living a couple days in this man's shoes, trying to figure it out. I understand what I'm saying. I understand what, from his perspective, and what he was up against to get this outcome. You can't tell me not one father in this world that's fighting for his son don't want what you think should have happened. You can't tell me, you can make the comments and say, oh, this and that. You can't tell me he's thinking like that too. Yeah, it's BS. I do believe that, okay, I was there. I was boots on the ground. I went out there and many times when nobody would even come out there to West Allis, because the West Allis Police Department was treating black people like trash back then. So I was out there and I wasn't afraid of nothing. And me and Craig Stingley stood on the front lines for many things. I even wanted to recall the DA. I tried to, get a recall going, but people got scared. They didn't want to do the recall. When I tried to push for a recall against DA John Chisholm, it was because of the situation with Corey Stingley, because he wouldn't press charges on the men. So I said, we need to recall the DA, and we had a meeting, and then some folks that, they came in and they had I would say somebody that worked in DA John Chisholm's office that looked like us come in there and try to blow the meeting up. I seen it. I seen all the plays, and I was early in my advocacy when this happened. This is why I don't do meetings no more. Because people will come and they'll plant themselves in the meeting only to blow it up. It's open to the public. Send the person over there, cause tension and everything like that. Well, I don't know if we should do this because this and that. Put fear in the meeting. I could have just went out and did it, and whoever wanted to do it could have just joined me instead of sitting at a table where I got to listen to everybody. Some folks be sitting in the meeting, didn't even brush their teeth. Saying, could have rinsed their mouth out with Listerine before they came up to the meeting. But see, this is why I say. This is why I say, this is why I just go do it. And whoever want to do it, they can come along. I don't want to hear your other side. Matter of fact, your other side don't mean nothing to me. I don't care what you're talking about. Either we going to get the result or we going to die trying to get the result. That's the only people I want to run with. So it is what it is. Salute to Craig. Salute to Craig Stingley. Salute to the family. Craig did an amazing job with getting what he could. And that's it. And I support him. When we talk about being in the industry, being an artist, how many people did you meet? How did that go, being in the industry as a Milwaukee artist?
Well, I did 21 months incarcerated with R. Kelly.
Okay.
That's the only real industry figure that I could say that I know. Mm-hmm. And it was just ironic. He ended up getting indicted a few months after I got indicted.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you was actually in jail talking with Kales?
Yeah, MCC Chicago.
Okay, so what was this conversation like? Is he all right? Okay, I heard he had blood clots and stuff like that. How's his health? Is that just rumors?
No, he had health problems, but, Kels, that was his first time being incarcerated, so I think he was more so trying to find any reason, any excuse to get out on bail at the time. So he was complaining about every little health issue.
Okay, I got you.
Like his toe got infected one time taking a shower, and he used that as a reason he to get out on bail. You know, so it was like any little thing that he could think of as a reason to get out on bail. You know, like from blood clots or whatever. I think he had diabetes and so he was just trying to get out basically.
And as you talked to him, did he tell you anything about his music journey? What kind of stories was he trying to tell?
Well, we on mainstream media, so some of them
you
stories.
Can't say. You're right.
I don't mind. It's your platform.
Well, we can't swear, but I mean, just no swear words. But everything else, pretty much, probably we can check into.
Well, the main things I wanted to know, you know, we hear conspiracy theories about stuff like Illuminati,
right,
and sacrifices and stuff like that. So
is it real?
I wanted to know, was that type of stuff real? And he kind of confirmed that some of that stuff was real. He was spiteful about how his situation with Jay-Z went. So, you know, I wasn't the only person he was telling these stories to. Right. Like the whole jail could vouch that, you know, he had some crazy stories about Jay-Z, and he basically said Jay-Z was like a sellout, like as far as selling your soul type stuff. You know what I mean? And he basically felt like,
well, Kanye West kind of alluded to a lot of that too.
Yeah. That stuff real, bro. Like, you know, I had real eye-to-eye conversations with R. Kelly, and he was bothered by some of the stuff he went through in the industry. And I know how people look at him. People got the right to look at him as a creep or whatever for certain things, but his thing was basically, and this was before, you know, Diddy situation.
Right.
So R. Kelly was basically painting the picture that he was targeted for a reason. He was basically saying, we all got reasons we could be locked up. You know what I mean? Like, even with Jay-Z and Foxy Brown, you know, it was similar to R. Kelly's situation with Aaliyah. So he was saying basically like they got allegations of messing with younger females too. So basically, why the government didn't indict them? That was his thing. He was saying they targeted him for a reason, and because he didn't want to comply with certain things that you have to do in that industry. He
made a song, Residuals. He made a remix to Residuals where he was talking about he don't even know who got his royalties. Like a lot of times we see these artists and it looked glamorous, the fame.
Yeah.
But on the back end, I think we're starting to see that that's all it was. It wasn't no economic stability on the back end.
Yeah, for sure. See, R. Kelly catalog was worth $1.2 billion, right?
Oh, wow.
And he still had the tour to take care of himself and his family financially.
Oh, wow.
When he was technically worth $1.2 billion. Like
with his catalog.
Yeah, like we talking about somebody who wrote songs for Michael Jackson and every other megastar damn near in that industry. So, you know, he was supposed to be announced as a billionaire before Jay-Z or Kanye or any of them. We all know how big R. Kelly was.
R. Kelly was like one of the biggest R&B artists. They call him the king of R&B.
Yeah.
When you talk about being in jail with R. Kelly, what stuck out the most to you? Like, if you had to tell somebody about that experience, one thing about that experience that stuck out to you the most, or something that R. Kelly wanted people to know, what would that be?
Well, I had my own situation with the government.
Right.
Like, I was really framed in an indictment as a member of a drug trafficking organization based in Chicago, right? And none of that was true. Now, people who know me from Milwaukee, especially coming up from 10th and Burlock, 10th and Ring, you know, people will perceive me as a dope boy or whatever. And I'm not saying I never was a dope boy, but the fact of the matter is I was not selling drugs at that time, you know, and they framed me in a case as a member of a Chicago-based drug trafficking organization. Allegedly, I was going to Chicago to get large amounts of heroin and bringing it back to Milwaukee and serving Milwaukee drug dealers. This is what the feds say. So with me being framed in a case, and hearing R. Kelly's story, he felt like he was framed, you know, and so it was like a parallel situation. So I didn't look at him how everybody else looked at him. I looked at him from the perspective that, you know, when Tupac became an icon, he was framed in a sex case. When Mike Tyson became an icon, he was framed in a sex case. Bill Cosby was framed in a sex case. Kobe Bryant was framed in a sex case. So I'm looking at it like that. Like, for some reason, when certain black men become iconic, they get framed in a sex case. So that's how I'm looking at it. You know what I mean? So that stood out to me because I got to know him as a person, and seeing his personality, I just didn't believe a lot of the things that was portrayed about him on Surviving R. Kelly docuseries.
Right. With the women, sometimes these victims, many times when it's a person of fame, when it came to R. Kelly, some parents would be involved in their daughters being with R. Kelly.
Yeah.
Taking them to him.
Yeah, that's exactly what was going on. And you got to think, like, even let's use Akon for example, right? Before Akon moved out of the United States, he was about to be framed in a sex case as well. Now, he had an event where it was 21 and older, right? And somehow a 14-year-old girl got in and got on stage with him, and he linked up with her, you know, afterwards. But
oh, wow.
He looking at it like everybody in here got to be 21. So he not thinking that it's a possibility that this young lady could be 14. And so, yeah, he basically lost a lot of sponsorships for that. And, you know, it just go on, bro. And with R. Kelly, like, the parents was really, like, basically selling their daughters to him. You know, if they had daughters they feel like attractive, they'd come to R. Kelly and say, look, my daughter is a huge fan. She want to meet you. And it takes messages, like I saw his paperwork, it takes messages from the parents to the daughters while they with R. Kelly. The mama's telling them, do this, say this to him, you know, try to get him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so... Yeah,
kind of coaching the situation.
Yeah, they was coaching their daughters to finesse them, and then, like, you know, R. Kelly was doing things financially for the daughters and the parents. So
he did he know that these were kids when at the time of intercourse?
I don't know, bro. I don't think so. Like, from his words and people that know him. He would, just like in the Akon situation, like, at these events, you supposed to be 21 and older. Like, most of R. Kelly events, it was the same way. You got to be at least 18 or older. So this where he was meeting these females at. So he looking at it like if they was at my events, they adults. You know what I mean?
And this is what he want the public to know. This is the stuff that he was trying to say that maybe didn't get in the media.
Yeah,
where the media was just like surviving R. Kelly. He did all of this to these young girls. He's a horrible human being because he was dating underage people. And then I guess with Aaliyah, the Aaliyah situation came in where she was a young girl, and that was on record that or I guess it was a marriage certificate somewhere.
Now, with regards
well, let me run the break. I want to get to this Aaliyah situation when we get back. We got Ronnie Bo, author, in studio, Milwaukee native, Truth Nation. Stay locked in. Once again, we in the studio with Ronnie Bo, Milwaukee native, 10th and Burleigh in the studio, author. You know, before we went to break, we was talking about R. Kelly's relationship with Aaliyah. We was about to get into that because I was talking about it was some kind of marriage certificate there with her. What was that? Oh, from your knowledge or from what you understand about that?
Okay, well, R. Kelly was signed to Barry Hankerson. I think the label was Black Ground Records, right? And Barry Hankerson was Aaliyah's uncle. So Barry Hankerson was trying to break Aaliyah in the industry, and who was better to do it than R. Kelly, right? So he linked them, and R. Kelly basically mentored Aaliyah for a while, and then it was a publicity stunt on the hands of Barry Hankerson to say that they was married.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that industry, at the time, especially, they was promoting like underage sex. You got to think
age ain't nothing but a number.
Exactly, age ain't nothing but a number. So that was programming young ladies to feel like, and I guess you could say adult men to feel like, well, age ain't nothing but a number. You know, R. Kelly got songs where he's saying you young but you ready and stuff.
You might be young but you're ready, ready to learn.
Yeah. So
I think a lot of people was just thinking, they wasn't thinking about somebody really just doing it like on like a pedophile level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you got to think of the movie Belly. It's a scene in there where a 16-year-old was performing the O sex.
Right.
I don't want to say.
Right.
I don't want to make you lose your sponsor.
But don't do that.
Yeah, but
this is public radio. You know.
Yeah, so this little philosophy or whatever you want to call it was being pushed on our culture, and I want to make a point that for some reason the media don't talk about the fact that 8 million children go missing every year. 22,000 children per day go missing per year, and it hit home with a lady that I refer to as the goddess, the lady who linked us. It hit home with her daughter, and I don't know if we should. Well, everybody familiar with Alexis Patterson,
right?
So it hit home with Alexis Patterson, and now that I know the goddess and hearing, you know, everything that happened with that situation is just shocking and disturbing. And it's like the media will push R. Kelly and how much of a creep or
surviving R. Kelly
pedo he is. Yeah.
Right.
But we not talking. Why we not talking about the other the children that's going missing and being like tortured and sacrificed. Like,
right. Well, the thing is, when we talk about, we got to talk about that because many times, because I deal with a lot of human trafficking things too. Like I've rescued a lot of girls from human trafficking. So I know that they don't talk about it because when you start digging up the ladder goes high up, beyond. And when it's our young black girls, it's not talked about. And when I came home, I started posting it. I didn't want them to talk about it. I was going to talk about it because I noticed that when they label a young black girl a runaway, she gets no resources, which leaves her open for people to take her and put her in the space of human trafficking. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So when I came home, I noticed that the mother would say, "Hey, my daughter missing, Tory." And I'd be like, "Why didn't you go to the police?" And they was like, "Because they not going to do nothing." And I say, "Why?" They was like, "Well, she ran away before. So you got like 1 or 2 times when you run away that they going to give you a little resources. After that, you go and say your daughter missing, they not going to do nothing." So that leaves the gate open for whatever's out there in the street to kind of have precedence. So I noticed that, and from there, I just started making sure that when soon as somebody told me that their daughter was missing, I went like that. I didn't have to wait for the police. And that's when I started realizing a lot about how Milwaukee worked, how people move here in Milwaukee, how there's so many holes to operate in this city, because when it happens to black children, when it happens to black men, when it happens to black women, the response is not at a high level unless it's homicide or unless it's like something definite where they can get it all at one time. So I started realizing that, and I said, if we don't start taking action on our own issues, we gonna still be wondering why they not doing this and why they not doing that. So I don't ask why they not doing it. I ask like why we not doing it. Because we the streets know everything. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, if something happened in Milwaukee, they gotta come to the street to get the information where we live. So I think that we have to take more control over the narratives. But like I said, Hugh Hefner, he was able to operate and out in the public with Playboy bunnies. He never got accused of anything.
And many of them was teenagers.
Right.
Even
they were.
They was 18.
Young girls. They were younger than that. They got the Vice documentary about Hugh Hefner now, where the people are coming forward talking about him now in his death. They waited till he died to tell the truth about him. But Bill Cosby, Diddy, R. Kelly, they the face of this, but they're not the ones that did it the worst. Like they it's not good at all, but they are the face of it all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's
Especially
wild.
when you got people like Epstein, you know, R. Kelly brother Bruce Kelly came out in a podcast last year, I believe it was, and he basically confirmed, you know, my relations to R. Kelly, but he also pointed out that he felt like I'm putting R. Kelly life in danger by speaking out on certain things, and they asked me to stop speaking on certain things, like to fall back. But I think I'm actually helping R. Kelly more than hurting him or putting his life in danger, because certain things need to be spoken about. Like before me, all you heard about was surviving R. Kelly and how much of a creep he is. But now, you know, you got somebody who done had sit-downs with the man and giving the media and the public a different perspective of R. Kelly. So, I mean, it's my story, so I'm going to continue to speak. And one thing that I haven't really spoke much about was the fact, I know it's been, it's a conspiracy theory that R. Kelly video Fiesta remix with Jay-Z was shot on Epstein Island. And according to R. Kelly, you know, I guess I'm supposed to keep that a secret, but that was actually confirmed. And, you know, people like Epstein, it's people like real creeps, worse creeps than R. Kelly, who actually pay people to bring underage girls to them. And they seen R. Kelly influence, you know, whether people want to admit it or not, especially in this culture. Every female wanted R. Kelly about 20 years ago, you know, or even 30 years ago in the 90s when he had all these hits, you know. The
Pied Piper.
Yeah, they all wanted a piece of R. Kelly. And so creeps like Epstein, seeing that, wanted to use people like R. Kelly to draw in these young females and bring them to islands and stuff like that. And R. Kelly, despite what people think about him, he didn't want to be a part of that agenda. And that's the main reason why they targeted him. And I won't say the main reason, because, you know, a lot of
Did he want his royalties?
Yeah, that's another factor. A huge factor was the fact that, you know, they didn't want him
gaining his publish
to touch that $1.2 billion that he worth. And it's crazy, bro. Being locked up with R. Kelly, you would think he would be well taken care of in there, but he wasn't. You know, the most he had on his books was like $20,000, and then they just took all that off his books in one day from out of nowhere. And from there, you know, he was struggling. You know, he barely had support. He probably had literally like one or two people that was actually there for him who he can call and that was still there supporting him. His girlfriend, I believe it's his fiance now, the young lady, she was coming up there every day. In MCC Chicago, it's not like being in Milwaukee County or MSDF here. You know, here you can't see out the windows. Where we was locked up at in the Metropolitan Correctional Center of Chicago, to be exact, you can see outside the window, right? And it's like parking structures. You know, MCC Chicago is a skyscraper, so it's like parking structures right next to the building, and people's family, friends, girlfriends come there and, you know, wave. You can see them outside the window. So she was coming outside to do that, to see him every day, but she didn't have money to, like, support him financially. Like, she was...
So you saying he's broke?
Yeah, like, broke.
I don't even look at going to Jamaica the same. Like, if I'm not in good health, if you got high blood pressure, if you got something wrong with you, maybe you may want to stay inside the United States. Despite the Packers losing this weekend, I got an interesting situation that I wanted to talk about that took place, and it has something to do with Jamaica. There was a family out of Racine, Wisconsin, that contacted me about a loved one that moved to Jamaica, and there was a situation that took place that involved the police and the hospital in Jamaica, and the loved one died. Now, we've been trying to get information. They called me 2 days ago to tell me what happened, and I've been trying to get a little bit more information. The dad, I talked to her father, Divinity. Her name is Divinity, and she moved to Jamaica from Wisconsin. And so today I was talking with the dad, and so we were on the phone with the Jamaican embassy, talking to the Jamaican embassy and trying to see what information could they find out for the family. Now, this had been going on almost 2 weeks before I got involved. So they were kind of giving the family the runaround, because they had to call, try to get information. And sometimes families are more personally attached to the situation. So I don't know, why they weren't trying to communicate well with the family. And so today I was on the phone, me and the dad. I talked to the Jamaican embassy, and I talked to the funeral home, and I talked to the Jamaican police department today. So I'm trying to work to see if they could get a little bit more information on what happened. But and the daughter is going to be on the show, so I'm hoping that tomorrow we can get the daughter on the show. I don't want to go into great detail. I want the family to come on and talk about it. It's their experience. I'm just talking about today, where I had to talk to the Jamaican embassy, the person from the embassy, and I talked to the funeral home where they have the body, and I talked to the police department, assisting the family and getting a little bit more information. So today, when I was doing that, we ended up receiving a copy of the police report, got emailed to the dad, and we also got some more things done over the phone today. And the father, was appreciative of us working together to get more information on what happened to Divinity. But I will be making a post on Facebook, on Tory Lowe KING this evening, with a little bit more details and instructing the community on how we can come together to try to help do a little bit more to assist this family on making sure that they can get their loved one back to Racine, Wisconsin. But it was a learning experience, because I had never talked to the Jamaican embassy. I didn't think I was going, 2 days ago, I would have never thought that I was going to have to deal with a situation out of Jamaica. And I know a lot of y'all go on trips to Jamaica. A lot of y'all want to go out there, and a lot of these women, they get out there and they go to Jamaica, and a lot of men go to Jamaica. But, many times I say this, the rules out, once you get outside the United States into these different countries, if something happened to you, it's a whole different ball game. I don't think we may not fully like the structure of what we have as a police department, but I'm sure that it's a better structure than what's going on in Jamaica. That's all I'm gonna say. I've heard stories. I've heard stories about once you leave the United States, and we kind of, even though we have issues, we don't have those issues. Okay, so I'm starting to see, when I was talking to the police department, the Jamaica Police Department, the person that I was talking to had no clue, or she was covering it up. Two things. Either she was covering up what happened, or she had no clue. Because when I was asking her for just basic information, a police report, incident report, any notes on what took place with Divinity, she was almost clueless of what was going on. I was like, well, if the police was involved, did they take notes? Do we have a report? And I'm telling you, it was like, she kept saying that the police has no interest in the situation. Like, the police have no more interest in the situation, and like, talk to the hospital. I ain't gonna tell you exactly what I said because I don't want y'all stealing my sauce. But then all of a sudden we get an email. I want y'all stealing my sauce. But then all of a sudden the daddy was told that he was gonna receive an email of the police report. And I guess when I get off the air, I guess I'll see what that says. But like I said, as an advocate, there's so many situations that advocates have to go through. And it's not just here in the city of Milwaukee. People in the city of Milwaukee travel. So I get to deal with situations across the country and outside of the United States because the people in my area in Wisconsin, when they leave Wisconsin to go travel or they go live in different areas, when they get into it, they call me. And I don't even know them. I have no clue on who they are until they call me or seek my assistance. So I'm going to keep y'all in the loop about what took place with Divinity. She moved to Jamaica, and I guess she had a boyfriend, but for the past 2 months, they had been broke up. So the boyfriend was not involved in anything. I know y'all thinking, okay, the boyfriend is always the first suspect. But in this case, the boyfriend was not around. And something happened with her in the apartment. And I guess the police was engaged allegedly to come get her. And they took her to the hospital. So between the engagement with the police and the hospital, she ended up dead in Jamaica, from what I'm putting together. But once again, I still got a little bit more digging to do, but I'll keep y'all up to date, and I'll be making a post this evening. If y'all follow me on social media, please share it, because I'll have instructions on how we as a people right here in the city of Milwaukee and the state of Wisconsin can help. Also, I'll be making a few calls to maybe some senators that I talked to, and making sure that they can double check and double down on getting her back here in the United States. I don't want to ever be out of the United States and something bad happen to me where my family would have to try to transport my body back to the United States. That's why I say, after this situation, I said I would never, I don't even look at going to Jamaica the same. Like, if I'm not in good health, if you got high blood pressure, if you got something wrong with you, maybe you may want to stay inside the United States, you know what I mean, and try to travel around, maybe go somewhere nice and hot in the United States, because if you get outside the United States and something bad happens, you're going to have to go through a whole lot, or your family going to have to go through a whole lot to get you back. And I'm finding that out firsthand.